Alright, so today's video should be pretty short. We're just going to go ahead and get some of the vocab out of the way so tomorrow's notes won't take so long in class. So first we're going to define a circle. A circle is a set of all points equidistant from a center point. Now, the measure of a circle is 360 degrees, always. Doesn't matter how big the circle or little the circle is, it will always have 360 degrees. So now, some vocab that you already know, some that will be new. Starting off with a radius. A radius is the segment from a center to a point on the circle. So as far as labeling a diagram, we usually label it with a lowercase r. Also, just a note, the radius is 1/2 the diameter. Okay, so just keep that in mind, that a radius is half of the diameter. Now, this next one is called a chord, and a chord is a segment with both endpoints on the circle. So we could draw a bunch of chords anywhere we wanted to, as long as they're both inside the circle, then you've created a chord. Just a side note, if you have a chord going through the center, then it would be the diameter. If you move it away from the center, then that chord gets smaller. Okay? The diameter is the largest chord in the circle, and it passes through the center, like we just talked about. So if I were to draw a diameter here, it would have to go directly through the center. And just remember that the diameter gets cut in half by the center because it's got two radii that, that form it. So your diameter, just a side note, is 2 times the radius. So you can go back and forth between a diameter and a radius. Okay? A secant. A secant is what I kind of think of it as a chord that leaves the circle on one end. So a secant is a segment that passes through the circle. So it can pass through on both ends, on one end, it doesn't matter. I think of it as a chord that kept going. Okay? So a secant is going to exit the circle on both ends, or even just one is okay as well. So I'll kind of draw two pictures here. Both of these are what we consider secants. Because it leaves the circle at some point. Now a tangent is a segment actually, well, okay, a segment or line really is what we should be saying here, and I'll add that up to the other one as well. A segment or a line that intersects the circle exactly one time. Or at exactly one point, however you want to write that. So it's kind of, I always picture like if I were to shoot an arrow, it would skim past that circle and just touch it very, very once. Like if it would skim past the nose and touch the tip of your nose. That's how I think of a tangent. Okay? I'm going to go back up to our secant and just kind of make a note that a secant is a segment or a line that passes through the circle, because lines go on forever. It doesn't have to be, or it could be a ray as well. So just two more vocab terms and then we're done. A common external tangent. A common external tangent is a line that is tangent to two circles. And then I'm just going to kind of put, but not in between the two circles. So based on the picture that's in the grid over here on the right, the two circles, I don't want one in between. I would draw one on top, for example. And again, thinking about that, shooting that arrow, it would pass through and skim both circles just one time each. That's a common external tangent. I could draw another one on the bottom of it as well, but those are the only two external tangents that these have, because if you want to visualize, if you were to start tilting that line at all, it would end up intersecting one of those circles more than once. Okay? And our last one is a common internal tangent, and that's a line, or a segment or a ray, it doesn't really matter, that is tangent to two circles and is in between the two circles. So for example, this time when you're shooting that arrow, think of it as starting low and shooting upward in between them and still hitting them each just one time. So you're going to touch each circle just once. And so I drew one going from the bottom left up to the top right. I can draw a second one passing from the top left down to the bottom right. And again, so it kind of looks like an X in the middle there if you want to visualize the two. Those are the two common tangents, okay? So that's all we're going to do in this video, just to get the vocab out of the way. So tomorrow in class, we can move on and do a little bit more in-depth stuff, okay? So that is it.